Welcome to another Coffee Break Conversation. This is our series where we get to know some people who are involved in coffee break languages, or indeed people who are involved in language learning and teaching in some way. And we'd like to get to know them a little more. And today I'm delighted to introduce you to my friend and colleague Francesca Perazio. Buongiorno Francesca.
Ciao Mark.
Come stai?
Benissimo, grazie. Tu?
Benissimo, benissimo. Non potrebbe essere meglio, no?
No, siamo in un posto da sogno veramente e con un tempo fantastico, quindi perfetto.
Esatto. Okay, now this is an interview that's going to be taking place in English. I hope that's okay. We're going to be having a chat about language learning, about your language learning experiences, and also finding out if you have some tips for our coffee break community and other language learners. Va bene?
Va bene, ok.
Okay, so first of all, for people who don't know you, can you tell us a little about your involvement in coffee break languages?
Okay, well, I've been working for Coffee Break Languages since 2014, I think, when you started with Coffee Break Italian 1. And I was really happy to be able to join you since the very beginning. So I've been witnessing the birth, I can say, of Coffee Break Italian.
Okay, so back then we were working with Katie.
Sì.
It was yourself and me and Katie, Katie was the learner in Coffee Break Italian Season 1, and you were the native speaker, and I was helping out where I could.
Exactly.
And now we've moved on from there to Coffee Break Italian Season 2. At the time of recording of this interview, we've completed Season 2.
Sì.
So Season 2 takes things a little further.
Sì, I've been, again, working with you in Season 2 as the Italian voice or the Italian native speaker.
Expert.
Expert, okay, I like it. And I've also helped in drafting the ideas for the content and putting together all the ideas we had before starting Coffee Break Italian too, including the famous soap opera,
The famous soap opera,
La mia
yeah.
estate.
I think that was one of my favourite bits. I've very fond memories of the day in which we recorded all that together. And then I think there were 7 or 8 of us all recording it.
It was a big crowd.
It was good fun, good fun. And
Sí.
we finished with an Aperol Spritz, I seem to remember.
I remember that very well.
So that's Coffee Break Italian Seasons 1 and 2. We've also got the magazine too at this stage, so we've launched the magazine podcast.
Sì.
Tell us a little about that.
See, at the moment we have recorded, I think, 4 episodes already of something completely new, Coffee Break Italian magazine. And this is a little bit different as compared to the usual podcasts we're used to. We have decided to explore some topics related to Italian culture and lifestyle, or also famous writers, beautiful cities. So it's a little bit different from the usual.
But the idea, of course, is that it's more content to help our learners get that bit more out of their Italian.
Exactly.
Okay, so Francesca, tell us a little about yourself. Where are you from?
I'm from Italy, of course. I was born in a small town in the northwest of Italy, in the Piemonte region. The town is called Biella, but I was raised in a little village in the middle of nowhere, up in the mountains, called Pettinengo.
Excellent. And we've actually had the joy of visiting Pettinengo this week, haven't we?
Sì, it's been very special.
I mean, we met lots of Francesca's family, and it was really nice to spend some time with the family and to get to know Pettinengo a little more.
Sì.
And there will be a video, whether it's already on the channel already, I'm not sure, but there will be a video coming soon if it's not available already, in which Francesca shares Pettinengo with the Coffee Break community.
I'm looking forward to seeing that video.
Have you always been involved in languages?
I've always liked languages since I started in primary school or middle school studying English. It was love at first sight, I can say. I've always liked the idea of being able to use a different language, something that wasn't Italian. And I think when I was a child, I wasn't aware of the existence of other languages. And then when we were first introduced to English in school, it was like an epiphany, I could say. So I've always been interested in the idea of other languages existing rather than only Italian.
Okay, so you went on then to study languages, is that correct?
Yes, in Italy, when you go to secondary school, you can decide what type of secondary school you want to go to. So obviously, I opted for a type of school called the Liceo Linguistico, which focuses on foreign languages. So obviously, I continued with English, and I also did a bit of French, German, and Latin because
Wow.
we study Latin in Italy.
Very important. How would you say that in Latin?
Oh, mamma mia! Don't ask me these questions.
Putting you on the spot. Okay, don't worry. Don't worry. So, did you then go on to study languages at university, or?
Yes, I went to the University of Trieste on
Mhm.
the other side of Italy, in the very northeast of Italy, and I studied English and Russian.
Okay, so adding yet more languages to your portfolio.
Yes.
So, are you still involved with Russian? Do you still use your Russian regularly?
Not very much at the moment. I have some Russian friends in Glasgow where I live just now, so they're really kind. At times they text me in Russian, or if we meet up for drinks, we have a Russian conversation
Okay.
somehow. But yes, my Russian is a bit rusty at the moment, I'm afraid to say.
We'll not put you on the spot here. Don't worry.
Thank
We've
you.
already done that.
Спасибо.
Пожалуйста. Okay, so then what happened? Then did you spend time abroad? Did you spend time in the UK or another English-speaking
Yes,
place?
when I was a student at the university, I did a year abroad in England, near London, for my Erasmus year, which is a great opportunity for all the European citizens. And it was a great year in my life many years ago now, but I have fond memories of my year abroad in England. And I also spent some time in Moscow.
Okay.
At the Moscow State Linguistic University and GLU.
Glue, okay.
Yeah, to improve my Russian and also to write my dissertation. So
Right.
I also have very fond memories of Moscow and my time in Russia.
Wonderful. Now, when we met, you were teaching full-time at Strathclyde University.
See?
Now we're delighted that you're working part-time with us, but you're still involved with Strathclyde. What do you do on a regular basis at Strathclyde?
At Strathclyde University, I'm a language teaching associate, so I teach undergrads from introduction to Italian up to honours. When they come to university, I teach them the basics of Italian grammar, and then little by little, I help them improve their writing skills, their listening skills, up to honors level when we do more challenging tasks like translation or interpreting. And by the time they complete their degree, they are at a very good level, I'm proud to say.
Excellent. Is there any crossover between the work you do with us and the work you do with your students at university?
Yes, I think actually I think I'm very lucky working in two slightly different environments, and I think what I learn in the real classroom environment, I can use it then to create the podcast and think about the way I explain things when I'm doing Coffee Break Italian with you, and vice versa. I also get a lot of good ideas from you, Mark, and all the colleagues who work for Coffee Break Languages, which I can then use in the language classroom. Yeah. So I think it's a mutually beneficial experience.
It works both ways. Excellent.
Yes.
Good. Do you have any particularly favourite coffee break memories? Because we've had lots of good times over the past few years.
I have a lot of good memories, and I can never thank you enough for this amazing experience, Mark. But I think the first time when we went to my village, which I mentioned before, Pettinengo, I think it was very emotional at the time, going back as an adult, as a professional, and seeing my village, meeting my people in a different way, under a different light, and being able to talk to them and ask them questions about their life and what they do. It was really, really touching for me.
Excellent.
So thank you.
Prego. We've also been able to do some of that this week too. We spoke to some of the residents of Pettinengo and of course meeting your family again. Any other standout memories?
Yes. An evening I will never forget in my life is the night when we were in London for the British Podcast Awards, I think
Yeah.
that was called, and we won for the category. Can you help me? What category it was?
The smartest education podcast, I think, or something like
Exactly.
that. Britain's smartest podcast.
Such a special I wasn't expecting really to like coffee break. I mean, I was hoping, but I didn't want to jinx it. So, but it was just a special night. So
Excellent.
yes.
Okay, Francesca, we're sitting here on a beautiful balcony on Lake Maggiore in the north of Italy. This, for me, is a pretty good coffee break. But what would be your ideal coffee break?
My ideal coffee break, whenever I see the Italian writer and intellectual Andrea Camilleri, the author of Montalbano,
Mm-hmm.
whenever I see an interview with him on TV or I listen to him on the radio, I always think, oh, I would just like to go to Sicily and sit with him and have a wee chat with Andrea Camilleri and just enjoy talking to him. So definitely that would be my ideal coffee break.
That sounds good. Tell me something. Would you take your wee jotter to take some notes?
Absolutely. My wee jotter is always with me.
We've spoken lots about the wee jotter. The wee jotter is a very important aspect of Coffee Break Italian, and for all Coffee Break languages, a wee jotter is a little notebook that you keep with you when you're doing your language learning. So Francesca would definitely have a wee jotter.
Sì, sempre.
Sempre. Benissimo. Okay, what about tips for our learners? Any tips for language learners?
Sì, there are a lot of tips when you want to learn a foreign language. First of all, I think we are always very, very scared when we are speaking in a foreign language. I'm actually shaking just now. No, I'm joking. But I know it's not easy to speak a foreign language. You really need to go beyond the comfort zone. So just try to make the effort not to be so afraid, and especially don't be afraid of making mistakes, because mistakes are part of learning a foreign language. They happen, they will always happen, but that doesn't mean that someone is not able to speak in a foreign language. So
Sbagliando si impara.
sbagliando si impara, as we say in Italian. And always have a wee jotter with you to write down the new words, to go through the words you've written down, to consolidate the learning.
Sounds good. Okay, it's time for our quick fire round. Now,
Okay.
In this round, basically, we're going to ask you for some quick answers and just come up with the first thing that you can think of. Don't worry, it's not too
Mamma
difficult.
mia.
So let's begin with favourite language
English, I love it.
and favourite word in that language.
Oh, I have a lot of words I love in English. I love, okay, when you say whatever, I just love it. I love the Scottish word glicket.
Glicket. Do you want to explain what glicket means?
Oh, it's like when someone doesn't get it, or when someone is not following you. Or...
They've got a glicket expression in their face.
Yes.
I love it. Okay.
And I also love the phrase, and Bob's your uncle.
Bob's your uncle. do you have a Zio Roberto?
Zio Roberto.
Excellent. Okay, what about your favourite food?
Oh, my favorite food. I think Italian food is my favorite food. Sorry.
It's okay. I have to agree.
If I have to think of something I want to eat every time I go back to Italy, it's my Zia Margherita's pasta alla Siciliana
Okay.
with aubergines, meatballs and cheese and tomato sauce as well, obviously. Normally it's penne pasta.
That sounds delicious.
And
I
I
think.
just love that dish.
Well, next time we come back, maybe we can sort that. Yeah.
Sì.
What about favourite film?
My favorite film, I think, is an Italian film, Pane e Tulipani, in English, Bread and Tulips.
Mm-hmm.
It's a beautiful, fantastic, colorful comedy set mainly in Venice, and it's the story of a frustrated housewife who is left. She's like on a holiday with her husband and a group of people, but they forget her in the autogrill, in like the, what do you say in
There's
English, the
motorway
motorway
service
service,
Yeah.
and then she needs to find a way to go back home on her own, but she ends up in Venice and a new life starts for her, and it's just a fantastic film. I would really recommend it.
Great recommendation. What about your favourite music or your favourite song?
Ooh, it's a tricky question. Probably if I were to mention someone, I would think again of Sicily.
Okay.
And there's a singer, an Italian singer I really like from Sicily, Franco Battiato. I really like him because the way he writes his music and the way he chooses words is very close to poetry. So whenever I listen to one of his songs, it's like reading up poetry in the music. So I think I would say Franco Battiato. But I also love Belle and Sebastian. If I need to mention someone from Scotland, it's Belle and Sebastian.
Excellent. Final question in the quickfire round: favourite destination?
Favorite destination? Another tricky question. I don't think I have a favorite destination, but I love that feeling when you're traveling to Venice by train and you abandon mainland and you are on the bridge which connects mainland to Venice. And I've always loved that feeling of being on the bridge connecting mainland to Venice. So that's always very special.
Excellent. Ok, è quasi finito.
Ok, va
Parliamo
bene.
comunque un po' in italiano.
Sì, certo.
Allora, questa settimana abbiamo lavorato molto,
Sì.
ma c'è stato qualcosa speciale questa settimana per te?
Beh, è stato speciale incontrare persone che ci conoscevano.
È incredibile. No?
Incredibile, sì, sì. Ieri stavamo filmando e una signora americana si è messa in un angolino e ci guardava. Io pensavo che fosse semplicemente curiosa, invece lei è stata molto educata prima di tutto perché ha aspettato che finissimo la nostra intervista e poi semplicemente si è avvicinata chiedendo "Are you Mark and Francesca?" e non potevo crederci.
Incredibile.
Sì.
E anche la coppia spagnola?
Sì, che carini, e anche loro molto carini e l'idea di pensare che il nostro podcast è ascoltato negli Stati Uniti, in Spagna, ma e soprattutto l'idea che possa regalare un sorriso in qualche modo alle persone quando lo ascoltano è una cosa che mi rende molto felice.
Anche a me.
Bene.
Francesca, this is where our coffee break is going to come to a close because we've still got things to do before we head to the
Sì.
airport later today. I hope that you've enjoyed getting to know Francesca a little and that you also continue to enjoy our coffee break content. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel here on YouTube if you would like to get more content like this, and make sure you click the little bell icon that appears too. We'll be back with more content very soon. For now, any final thoughts, final wishes for our listeners?
Keep learning any language. Never, never, never stop learning languages.
Francesca, grazie molte.
Grazie a te, Mark.